All right, so here is another video of my support of the SAIL technique and why I really want you to use it. Before I get into this, though, I want to highlight an online posting I saw where there was a lot of responses, and it was about how coaches don't necessarily coach against using the hitch kick technique, the one where there's a lot of leg movement and it looks as though the athlete is still running kind of midair before gathering themselves and landing. And there was a lot of responses in praise to that yes, we should be doing hitch kick and we should do this and we should, allow our athletes to jump like they, want to jump. And so that kind of stuck out to me a little bit. Now, in my book, I provide you with instructions on how to do initial natural jump ability assessments. And yes, that should be done. From that, you determine next steps and you determine kind of what flight technique you want to do. If an athlete comes through on that assessment and performs a hitch kick and legs are moving and they look good, don't change anything. Let them naturally jump like that. Allow them to do what they do without a whole lot of instruction naturally. But if the athlete comes through and they look completely out of control and they try doing hitch kick and they land awkwardly and they seem to have no flight control, no comfort in air, all those different things, you can't allow them to continue going with hitch kick, in my personal opinion. Again, I think there are a lot of really natural jumpers out there that can do some really amazing things. I just saw a seventh grader pull off one of the most beautiful hitch kick uh, kind of motions, rotations, control that I've ever seen in person, and the kid's in seventh grade. I don't assume there's been a whole lot of training in the hitch kick to this point. I think he just picked it up. So am I going to talk against the hitch kick? No, by no means. But I will talk against it if athletes are out of control, they're landing improperly, which the seventh grader did not do. Like I said, it was very good. And they can't control themselves in air. So here is this example now of this gentleman in this video. He is someone that I've coached for a couple of years, came out as a sophomore, broke his leg junior year playing basketball, and now this is a video of him being out senior year. This is a kid who's never had flight mechanics. Natural jumper, very good. He's a wide receiver in football. He plays basketball. I mean, he's very comfortable in the air, but he does not know how to control himself. And originally, he did start doing kind of a hitch kick, leg continue to move movement in the air at takeoff and so on. But what happened is he would come down and basically crash to the sand pit. And I've seen a lot of athletes do this as well. Unfortunately, though, the coaches they have don't necessarily try to change that entrance into the sand pit. And I think if you're crashing into the sand like that, you could be exposing yourself to an injury, a number of different things, and there's no positive in that, in my personal opinion, especially when you can teach them to fly in the air in a controlled manner to land as well. So in this specific session, I asked this athlete to simply not flip his head back, which is another thing that I want to just quickly touch upon. We can't allow athletes to flip their chin and eyes to the sky. It takes away their peripheral vision of the pit and everything in front of them, and they generally, not always, but generally, over rotate or kind of, don't have the patience they need to have in their flight because their eyes are looking in the wrong direction. So you can tell in this video, actually right here, I think you can kind of tell that his chin is down, and you'll see his chin stays down throughout the video as well. But ultimately, the goal was, hey, don't flick the head up. I want you just to leave your knee out in front, and I want you to see how you feel as you prepare then for landing. And this was the result of this practice session. Knee stays out front, gathers arms, gets feet out, arms and feet extend, and he lands. And that's a little off camera there. We were using a recording app, and it didn't get all of it, unfortunately. But this is a beautiful jump. This is exactly where I would have wanted this athlete to be moving forward. Now, the unfortunate thing is we didn't have a whole lot of time together, and we lost that junior year because of the broken leg and so on. And so, unfortunately, because I wasn't able to attend very many practices and it was all voluntary in nature, I wasn't able to see him as much as I would have liked. And it only started really clicking on how to land properly and how to get things a little bit more out in front by the end of his season, close to working his way to the state meet, which he fell just short of. And so this, though, I think if we would have spent more time really focusing on this, really kind of pushing that, let's not be fancy, let's not be crazy with our legs, let's just control ourselves and get our knee out in front and really kind of land in that manner instead, I think this would have paid off dividends for this athlete. I'm very happy with how he finished his season. But I also know as a realist that had we had more time together junior year, as well as more practice sessions in general, I think we could have gotten him to a point of being way more proficient in landings in just using a sail technique. So again, I don't want to push that we never do the sail or we only do the hitch or, athletes do the hang. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if athletes naturally do a hitch, let them do it. Like step back. Don't overcoach and then put conflicting ideas in their minds. If they can't control themselves and they have terrible timing and they have these horrible crash landings, use the sail. It doesn't matter if they're a male, it doesn't matter if they're a female. Push that first and foremost. Build that confidence, that control, that small amount of movement in air prior to maybe going to something like the hang or the hitch. If you want to start with the hitch right off the bat because you're seeing certain things, and a lot of people say if you do the hitch kick, it keeps speed off the board better, go for it. I'm not saying that there is one rule that governs all things. I will never say that. But I want people to start looking and start really assessing athletes and what they need rather than just seeing some video online and going with that, as well as trying to overcoach athletes that may have some natural abilities. I hope that all makes sense. If you need to reach out to clarify anything or have any questions about this, let me know.